Hello. Good evening.
Hello.
We are here tonight with Rebecca, a level 6 student on the comics course at Wrexham Glendower University. How are you?
Fine, as you can
Yeah,
be in
this
situation.
is, I suppose this is really nerve-wracking, just because this is the first time we've ever live streamed and done anything like this, really. So yeah, we've got a couple of questions for you. We'll go through a few things. We'll leave it up to people in the chat to um, ask questions as well. I've got a load of questions ready for you, and we'll see how we get on. If anybody is, those people watching, if there is any issues with sound or it's really loud and deafening or anything like that, then certainly let us know. We'll make some adjustments. I suppose, as with any stream, if you haven't got technical difficulties, then it's not really a stream, is it? I suppose. Okay, so let's jump straight in, shall we? I'm going to change a few screens around just to see, so I can see my questions. So you've been at the university now for 3 years.
Yep.
This will be your third year. Okay, so the first couple of questions that we'll throw at you is, how did you find out about the course? And what made you apply for the university?
Well, I'm Danish, and I was trying to get into a school in Denmark, and I didn't get in, but they had these feedback sessions for students who did, for people who didn't get in. And at that session, I asked for alternatives, places with similar courses. I was trying to get into a comic course, and one of the suggestions were Glendower and this course I'm on now.
All right. Okay. So that's sort of quite interesting that you I suppose I've actually put it in the title. We're talking actually. I'm currently in Wales and UK, and you're actually in Denmark. Whereabouts in Denmark are you at the moment?
I'm on the West Coast.
Okay, cool. And we always Brits always have to do this. What's the weather like? What time of day is it?
It's an hour in front of the UK. So.
Yeah.
It's grey and very windy.
Well, we've not been too bad here. We've had a bit of sun, so let's move on. Rather than asking questions about the weather, I'm sure the people watching are not really interested about me talking about the weather. But so, what have your highlights been at studying at the university?
Well, I guess the classroom, which we have right now, but
yeah, it's difficult right now.
But before the pandemic, when we, the thing about, being in a creative environment and, just be sitting at your desk in the school, and then you could take a walk around the classroom and see what everyone else was doing, like be able to turn around in your chair and hey, what are you working on? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's helpful, isn't it? It's always helpful being able to bounce ideas off other people. And I think working throughout the pandemic has been really difficult for a lot of people. So would you say this has been the hardest part of your studies then, at this point, having to work so remotely?
Honestly, it's probably I have more trouble with like the few academic parts of the program.
Yeah,
I just want to draw.
And there's nothing wrong with that, is there? I mean, I suppose being sort of drawings what you do and sort of the academic side, writing essays and things like that, is not for everybody. But it's certainly you've managed to adapt to that. You wouldn't be in level 6 right now if you hadn't been able to sort of do some of it. But I suppose, yeah, just wanting to draw is kind of is always a good motivation to get through stuff. So, in terms of we've answered the question about your highlights and things like that, but what's it been like studying in Wales? would you say it was much different to Denmark, or?
Well, I mean, there is some small cultural differences and stuff, but I'm I'm an introvert. Like, I go to school and I go to buy groceries and I went to the gym. Otherwise, I stayed at my room. So
Yeah, I think that, well, a lot of artists can relate to that. I suppose it's kind of it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, we can tend to lose ourselves in what we're doing, and especially sort of when it comes to this sort of art. I mean, I've taught various different disciplines throughout the arts sectors, and I've always found that artists tend to gravitate towards their own company. So we've got K Smith illustrations on the text there. So on the chat, we managed to get you to go to Casper's occasionally. Okay, so for those who don't know,
I was making an effort to be social.
forced out of the student village and into the dessert shop that is Casper's, which is a bit of a shout out there to the dessert shop in Wrexham. One of the highlights, I suppose, of studying in Wales. All right. So enough about the sort of coming over to the university and things like that. Let's talk about what got you into comics in the first place.
Well, I mean, I have always been reading comics, like even before I could read. I was looking at the pictures. But those were like old comics, like my parents brought with them, like, and that's primarily, European comics and newspaper strip comics, like collected volumes and stuff like that. But like what's actually got me into like wanting to create them was webcomics.
Okay.
When those were a thing.
All right, cool. So, can you remember the sort of, well, you sort of answered the next question about remembering the first sort of comics you read, whether it be comic strips and things like that, and web comics. So, how do you feel that impacted you and the career that you sort of chose to go down?
Well, I mean, I thought as webcomics go, is more like, I mean, it's the freedom, like anyone can make them. They're not necessarily good, but like everyone can make them and just post them online, like.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you read any good ones lately?
Lots.
Okay, so too many to mention. Okay, so that's sort of, which leads us on to the next question in terms of comic conventions. I mean, obviously as a comic artist, you need to attend these conventions and sort of participate.
I've only ever been to one.
Which one was that?
Comic convention, anime convention here in Denmark, in Copenhagen.
Okay.
Because I was helping out a friend.
All right. Okay. So, in terms of comic conventions at the moment, they've all sort of disappeared a little bit because of obviously the pandemic and stuff. So, do you think that's going to have a huge impact on how comic artists sort of interact with their audience, or?
Yeah, I mean, again, I haven't much personal experience, but I know a lot of, the artists, comic artists, webcomic artists that I follow and stuff. Like, I know a lot of them depended on conventions for a good income. So, but yeah. I mean, they also always talking about like the convention flu and stuff, like how they would always get conventions and stuff like that. So at least hopefully there'll be a bit of hygiene at them going forward.
Yeah, there's a few people. We've had a few students who have done Wales Comic Con, and they've always said about con flu after, which I suppose is avoided now. Now everything's gone online. So let's just get rid of that. So, at what age did you start drawing then?
I mean, I think as with most artists, I've like always been drawing, but I started getting serious, I think about around 9th grade or something.
Okay. 9th grade in terms of UK age, was that the same as that?
Yeah, let's see. I think that's 15, 16.
Oh, okay, so about 15, 16. All right, so and then so that leads us on because we always get these questions from students who say, "Oh, I can't draw," or "I can't. I'm a bit nervous about drawing," or whatever else, or "I definitely wouldn't show anybody any work." And I always
Mm.
say to them, "How often do you draw?" And they always say to me, "Oh, never. I don't draw because I don't think I can." So, so how often would you say you draw?
Well, after I started getting like serious, I try to draw every day. Like I
Okay.
don't myself up if I don't, but I try to do it every day.
Mm. So would you say was that like an hour a day, 2 hours, or are you like literally from the minute you wake up until the minute you go to sleep drawing?
No, like a couple of hours.
Yeah. Okay. And that's always the kind of thing I say to him. If you're not drawing every day, then you're not going to improve, and it's that um, practice makes perfect, I suppose.
Mm.
So what are you working on at the moment?
Well, my project for this module in school that we're at right now, like it's I'm working together with a writer from the creative writing course,
Okay.
illustrating one of his poems, a long form poem.
Are you allowed to tell us about that, or is that like a secret at the
Well,
moment?
no, I think it's no. I mean, I've been posting the pages online as I finish.
Okay. What's the poem about? You can.
It's about a queen, a fool, and a king.
Okay. So,
Uh,
and if people wanted to check that out, they could go to
my
your
Deviant
Instagram.
and my Instagram.
Okay, which is just at the bottom. I do apologize. My camera's sort of inverted, so I'm a little bit like all over the place. So it's down there in the bottom, just underneath Rebecca's picture there. Um, okay, so let's go get rid of that. So, would you say you were a traditional artist or more of a digital artist?
Digital artist.
So, do you ever do any traditional stuff, or is it all digital?
I mostly only do the traditional for if I'm doing comic thumbnails,
Okay.
because it, and then I haven't really been doing it in a while. But if I'm doing live drawing,
Okay. So, and then, but the vast majority of time is all digital. And
yeah.
what are you using when you do that? Yeah, obviously, there's people out there who watch comic artists on Twitch all the time, and they see students doing stuff. They're certainly not doing it with a mouse and a keyboard.
No, I'm using Intuos Pro, a Wacom comic.
Okay. And is that something you recommend for any budding comic artists out there?
Well, yeah, I mean, it served me well enough that when my old one died, I bought a new one.
Okay. Well, return customers always sort of. I suppose that's a win for Wacom. Um, so what do you do? So when you are drawing, what do you tend to use more? Like software? Is there any particular brush packs that you use, or anything that you'd recommend people to try
well,
out?
yeah, well, I use Clip Studio Paint nowadays. Before I used a program called Krita. I can recommend that too, like for free program. It's really good.
Okay.
But yeah, nowadays I use Clip Studio Paint. For brushes, I like Clip Studio has this assets thing where users can upload brushes and assets and
Mhm.
different things. And I tend to, if I want something, I tend to just search on there, see if I can find what I want. So, like for example, my main drawing brush I use is like one I downloaded, one with a pencil texture.
Okay, cool. So, because the question I would have asked, obviously, if you'd been a traditional artist, I would have asked what pencils you use and papers and all that sort of stuff. But obviously, being a digital artist, so Clip Studio is become quite sort of the go-to thing at the moment with comic artists because it's got comic layouts and everything else. So that would
Mm.
that be something that you would recommend?
Yeah, it's very helpful, the tools they have for comic making.
Okay. So, um, we'll probably come back to that a bit later on when because we later on we will get on to do getting you to do some drawing stuff for us, and we'll probably ask you then about a bit more about Clip Studio and stuff. So let's move on to what's your favorite aspect? Can you say aspect about working on comics?
Being able to tell a story, like I mean, I like to come up with characters, and then it's nice to actually be able to show people stuff about those characters with instead of just a single drawing or something.
Okay. And that obviously comes with what's your least favorite thing about doing comics or drawing comics?
They take a very long time to make, at least with my style.
Hmm. I think a lot of people don't realize how long comic books do take, do they? And it's when you get like a comic that's a couple of pages and it gets released once a month. You often get people asking, "Well, why isn't there more?" or whatever else. So yeah, I think time is a huge thing. I suppose the more effort and time and stuff you put into it, the better it's going to be. I suppose. Okay. So, what style of drawing do you use, or what's your style that you prefer? Is there any particular type that you gravitate towards? No, just
I
whatever you
would
think
call
at the
my
time.
style like
Yeah.
semi-realism,
Okay.
slightly on the cartoony side.
Okay. And influences? Who would you say is your biggest influence when it comes to creating comics?
I can never answer those questions. I don't know.
So,
I don't.
just where would you say that you draw influence from? Would it be from sort of just maybe going out for a walk or whatever? Would it be I don't know, going to the movie, watching TV, watching movies, or just generally sort of things that you get a brief and then you just try and work through that brief and try and draw influence from research or
Well, no, I guess it's just what motivates me is my characters. Like
okay. So do you tend to
I
gravitate
want other
towards
people to see my characters.
well, do you tend to gravitate towards the same style of characters all the time, or do you mix it up a bit?
Well, I mean, when it comes to comics, they're like comics are like where I like the story. Well, maybe the style is not my thing, but the story is good, so I read it anyway. And then there's ones where both are right up my alley.
Okay, so we've got a question from the chat. CAA Silversmith, would you recommend the course? You're on to other budding comic artists.
One thing about it is it's not just for comic artists, it's also for illustrators and the children's books. And the other thing is they're changing the course, so like I don't.
So I think when you started, it was something like illustration, children's books, and comics, and now it's actually separated out, isn't it? So, or graphic novels, yeah, sorry, graphic novels.
Yeah,
So, and now it's
gotta be
actually
used to fancy
separated.
term.
And you can actually apply for the course as comics now. So
Yeah.
I suppose that's with it being dedicated towards comics, that's interesting. It's something you can apply for. So, okay, so we talked about time, and you said about it takes a long time. So, how long would it take to complete one page of a comic book?
Well, it's kind of difficult because like the pages I've been working on have been schoolwork, so it's been a lot of doing something and then getting feedback from the tutors, and then doing something and getting feedback from the tutors. So it's a bit hard because I know after I finalized the sketch, like that's completely. Then it takes me about 8 hours to complete it. But I don't really know how long it takes for me to like finalize thumbnails and actually like drawing up the sketch. I don't know how long that takes.
Okay.
Especially because like I've usually when I with this workflow I've sketched all the pages before that, like actually doing the finished art. So
okay. So which would you prefer to do then? Would you prefer to do the covers or more interior pages of the comic book?
The pages. I mean,
Yeah.
I like doing, single illustrations too, but like trying to come up with covers can be hard too, because it has to, draw in people.
Just one big image, I suppose, isn't it? It's lots of little images. And also now, obviously, we've asked you covers and interiors. Which would you prefer? Do you prefer physical comics or web comics?
Well, probably web comics. Like I'm not very focused on having to hold the thing in my hand. Like also, like I read a lot of books too, and like I don't, compared to how many I read, I don't own that many. I just borrow them from the library. Like I can't. I mean, when the webcomics, they're right there, they're right online. I can access them at any time. It's like, but I do own some comics, but
Yeah, because I can imagine I've collected comics myself, but and you do run out of shelf space quite quickly, and I suppose that's one of the downfalls of collecting anything really, is that this space is a huge issue. So webcomics.
I mean, I have all like the Hellboy collectors volumes. I have those, so, and they look very fancy on my shelf.
So I suppose we have to ask the question then. Which Hellboy do you like the Hellboy movie adaptations, or do you?
Well, I mean, I saw the movie first, so.
Okay. And what do you think of the new one, the latest one? Have you watched the latest one? Were they done away with?
No, I don't think so.
No. All right. So I can't ask you if you prefer that one to the other one. That's fine. So we do have another K Smith. K Smith illustrations. Would you ever like to make a book made up of all your short comics, sort of like a compilation booklet?
I don't know, like they're all kind of, all of them are like different formats and stuff, and like don't really have anything to do with each other, stuff like that. Like.
Well, okay. So then, how do you come up with the narrative or your character ideas?
I mean, to be fair, that's kind of the bit I'm worst at.
So would you rather somebody give you a script to work from and a storyline, and then you draw to that?
Yeah, I don't know. I still, even though I'm not so good at it, I still want to, tell my own stories. It's just, trying to have it come up with a plot beyond like this character talk to this character,
Yeah, I can imagine that's difficult. I seen something a few years ago about the hardest thing in a script is two people having a conversation.
It's just like.
Okay. So, do you ever? So, I mean, based on what's come up in the chat there and what we've discussed already, do you ever take on commissions?
Yeah, like just small character commissions, like where people commission me to draw their characters.
Okay.
Like I haven't done that many, but they're fun enough to do.
But you're open to do more commissions right now?
Yeah, like I'm always open. I just don't really advertise. So
okay.
If occasionally people like ask me if I'm open for commissions, and yeah.
And what would you require them to do? Would they need to come up with an idea, or just give you a guide and then you would come up with that idea, or?
No, like they have like a reference sheet for their characters, and
okay.
Or if they don't, like I ask them to maybe, written description, and maybe just pull some images of Google to give me an idea of what they want.
Well, when I was doing some research on questions to ask and stuff, one of the questions that came up was asking comic artists what's the weirdest commission they've ever received. And I'm not going to ask you that because obviously having a lot of students for quite some time, students get commissions, and it can be from all walks of life. So we won't ask you that question, but that is something that really sort of stood out that I thought I'm definitely not asking that question. So let's move away from comics a little bit, and let's talk a bit about your sort of main interests and hobbies. So, what would you say? What are you into? Are you like movies, TV shows, that sort of stuff?
I consume media, so yeah, TV shows, webcomics, cartoons, anime, manga, lots of books too.
And would you say that all influences what you do as a comic artist?
I mean, yeah, I guess like I consume what interests me, and of course I draw what interests me. So of course there's overlap.
Okay. So I think unless we haven't had many questions from the chat, and it sort of brings us to the end of the questions that I've got for you now. So what we're probably going to do next is just ask you, what are you going to draw for us?
Well, I'm gonna try see if I can do like a character design on the fly for maybe the next project I'm doing.
Okay, great. So what we're gonna do now is, because we're sort of like in with the magic of the internet and technology and everything else, we're beaming sort of people from Denmark to the UK and then to the rest of the world. What we're going to do is I'm just going to flick on the be right back screen, and then we're going to set this up, and then we'll be back in about 5 minutes. And if anyone's got any questions in the meantime in the chat, then certainly stick them in the chat, and we're quizzing Rebecca as she's working on the project next. So we won't be long. Thank you. hopefully that's working. I'm not sure if I'll just check the stream to see if that's coming through. Obviously, trying to get Zoom to screen share at the moment. Just check. I don't think it is coming through. Bear with me a second. Nope, we just got a blank screen. Bear with us. So.
Oh no.
So, I think we're back. Technical difficulties aside, first go, everything else. We got a few followers as well while we were sort of messing about. Well, I was messing about trying to get this sorted out. So, a couple of thank yous. We got Rhubarb, Kiss My Artichoke, and Virtually Here have all joined us as well. So, the the difficult thing we've had is trying to get Zoom to actually work for us. So now we've managed to do that. So we're now currently screen sharing via Zoom,
Woohoo.
all the way from Denmark to the UK out to the world. I'm gonna keep saying that. So, so do you want to tell us a little bit what you've got going on here? We've got Clip Studio. I've
Yep.
extended it a little bit so that you can see the screen a bit better. So if you want to take over, just let us know what you're going to do there, Rebecca.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna try and sketch out my ideas for the character. Like, I already have like a fairly good idea what I want him to look like, so it's mostly just figuring out the details. And just a fair warning, my sketches are kind of rough. But like
Starting off, blocking out the shapes.
yeah, just kind of getting a rough idea of his body type, I guess. Kind of your classic Doritos shaped that guy.
Okay. There's I think while we were away, we had a couple of questions as well. So, is there anything you'd like to draw to relax if you're on big projects, or if your big projects are tough?
Well, my characters. But you know, it's just a simple character illustration.
Okay. So just returning to sort of like a safe characters, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we've got another question from Katron. What is your go-to warm-up practice?
Gonna be honest, I don't really warm up.
Just go for it.
Yeah. I mean, there was a period where I would do like 10 minutes of live drawing before I started drawing, but yeah, usually I just start.
So, I mean, it's something that we always try to promote at the university in terms of life drawing for proportions and everything else. Do you feel that life drawing is essential, or?
It certainly helps. Like, even if I'm not really doing live drawing right now, I still use reference a lot. Use myself as take reference photos and videos of myself and stuff like that. But I like doing live drawing. I think it's fun.
Well, it's been quite difficult throughout the pandemic, actually, being able to get, obviously, doing live drawing and stuff like that. I noticed a few people have started doing things online. The BBC even did a live drawing program as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a croquet cafe, like that's I've been using when I've drawn it online. Like it's because it's it's a video set up like a a classic live drawing session, so you get the timing and the poses, and then yeah.
Okay, we've got a question from Kiss My Artichoke. Do you draw any horror characters / comics?
I mean, I draw a lot. I have a lot of like monster characters, but like it's not so much horror. I'm not a huge fan of horror, like at least not in a pure form. But I like gore.
Okay.
It's...
Yeah, I mean, we recently been on a sort of 80s horror marathon, just with the lockdown and stuff. But it's kind of like horror films nowadays are a lot different, and I suppose they were a lot more gory back in the sort of 80s, 90s.
It's kind of stiff looking. Oh. Yeah, but like, no, like, I like monsters. It's just like I prefer them to be like characters and not just like mindless monsters.
Okay. So who's your favorite monster then?
I don't know. I like demons. Demons are cool.
Okay.
Have a lot of demon characters.
So you've sketched out one character. So what's this? What's the next? Is this a sort of more close up, or are you doing a completely different character?
Yeah, like that was kind of figure out,
Mm-hmm.
body, and then again because I've had him in my head for a long time, so I have a good idea of what I want. But yeah, that's more the close up of his head.
So do you ever take sort of influence from people that you see, like when you're traveling around, or is it just completely off the top of your head?
I'm probably more influenced by, well, other artists' depiction, like not like directly of real people. Like I have like one character that's directly inspired by a real person, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. So, in terms of drawing stuff all the time, do you ever keep a sketchbook, or is it just completely digital now?
It's more or less completely digital. Again, I have a sketchbook that I use for like thumbnails.
Okay. Because that's one thing I say to students when they first start courses and stuff is try and get yourself like some sort of small handheld hardback sketchbook, like a Moleskine or like a Sea Whites or something, and just go and sit on a park bench and draw whatever you see, or sit in a coffee shop. It's the coffee shop sketchbook is the kind of thing I suppose I like to promote to students.
But I don't go to coffee shops.
I suppose that's the sort of obsessive coffee drinker coming out with me there. They just go and sit in a coffee shop and draw.
It's not that I don't see how it's a good idea. I just don't do it. I mean, it's also because I'm basically incapable of doodling. Like I want to pretty much everything I draw, I want to finish. So that also makes it a bit frustrating. Try and draw in a sketchbook, like I just. Like, because I just want to. Oh, but what if I just want to move stuff around like I can do digitally, but I can't because it's in the sketchbook, and then like. And again, like, or if like even if I try to draw in a sketchbook, it's kind of like, I don't want to draw that. I want to do that digital because this pose is hard, so I want to be able to fix it.
Yeah, because I suppose it's something sort of once you've got it in the sketchbook, rather you don't want to be ripping pages out and stuff. It's kind of fixed, isn't it? So we've got a couple of questions. K Smith Illustrations asks, tea or coffee?
Neither.
Okay.
Cocoa.
So, I mean, what is that? Is that just a personal preference, or what is Denmark a nation of coffee drinkers or not?
Well, yeah, they're coffee drinkers, but like it's more like I don't like coffee. I don't like tea.
Fair enough. I suppose it is an acquired taste. And did you always want to pursue a career in comics? And that's from Kiss My Artjoke.
Well, no. At first I didn't really think it was an option. I mean, again, the school I was trying to apply to here in Denmark, at first I was actually trying to apply to its animation course. And then I discovered they had a comic course.
That's interesting for me, because obviously being a program leader of animation, what swayed you not going down the right route of animation then?
I do not have the patience for it.
That's fair enough. I suppose it takes a certain kind of person to sit there and move something quite slowly, especially stop motion animators.
Comics are slow enough.
Yeah. But there's always a sense of achievement once you've actually finished or completed that project, especially an animation that's taken hours just to do 1 second of animation, and a comic book that's taken days to to complete. We've got another follower. I don't know about. I don't know what Zero. I don't know if that's someone's phone number. So whether they want you to phone them or what, I don't know. But I'm not sure if that's. So thank you anyway, whoever 07899948996 is. So as you can tell, when I was setting up the stream, I very much played about with After Effects, and everything sort of tries to move or do something. So you've recently started up your own Twitch channel. How did you find your very first Twitch stream? Because obviously you're more experienced than I am doing this. Because this is your second stream. Yeah. This being our first stream, so yeah, you are the experienced person in the room.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a bit awkward at first because don't really start out with like only one person watching, and it's like, and then they are not in the chat room, so it's like, oh, what do I talk about? Plus, like, I was having trouble with Clip Studio lagging, so it was like, but yeah, I mean, at the end, the time ended up going very fast. So
I suppose if you enjoy what you do, it does go quite quick, doesn't it? I know I've spotted people who were drawing and stuff, and they're into like their 5th, 6th hour of drawing. So I suppose if you're doing that, because there's something that I've been talking to the students about for the last sort of 2 weeks. You're probably sick of me going on about it, in terms of the amount of artists that are now on Twitch and just streaming their artwork. It's good to see. It's good to see people sharing artwork. It's always interesting to see.
Yeah, it's fun to see people's process.
It's kind of
hearing them talk about it.
Yeah, and it's completely different to watching like YouTube tutorials and things. And everyone I've seen so far have always been quite helpful, and sort of, if you ask a question in the chat, they generally answer. So yeah, if anyone watching it does have any questions, then certainly fire them into the chat, and I'll just keep firing them at Rebecca while she's creating a character. So I suppose 12 months ago, we're a bit late to the party doing this, because a lot of artists went online to start streaming their work and getting commissions and whatever else, and working from home this time last year. So I don't know, it's kind of a strange situation that we're in now, but I suppose the pandemic has opened the market up, or global market up, for artists a little bit more to get commissions from anywhere in the world, I suppose.
I mean, yeah, well, it's kind of already thing. Like people think getting commissions from social media and stuff.
Yeah. So out of the commissions that you've had, where would you say you've had the most from?
Devianta.
Okay.
That's where I have most followers.
How many followers have you got on DeviantArt?
2,300 or something.
2,300. Okay. Yeah, because I've got a couple of students who have mentioned Tumblr before now and having like 4,000 followers on Tumblr and stuff.
Yeah, but it kind of died a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they sort of, these things, like, they sort of peak and drop, don't they? They sort of, they get really big and then all of a sudden disappear. So I'm old. I remember the days of MySpace.
Yeah. Oh no.
I suppose that looking at what you're doing there, I mean, the good thing about doing it digitally is you can, if you're not happy with it, you can just go back and do it again and again and again until you are happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's also why I have the hair on a different layer. It's like I don't need risk erasing what I've done with the head.
Yeah. Yeah, layers are your best mate, I suppose. It takes some time though, getting when you first start, or you've been using a program for a while, is getting used to just throwing things on layers. Find that, and then I always find that I'll do something and I think, oh, I should have put that on another layer.
Yeah.
So then I'll tend to go back over it and do it again.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at least you can again put the thing that wasn't on a different layer and then just make a layer and trace it.
So, I mean, have you ever used anything like Photoshop? Or is it just all been Clip Studio? What was the other program you mentioned?
Krita.
Oh, Krita. Okay.
And before even then, but that was before I actually started really doing data. It was GIMP.
Okay. Yeah, because I suppose Photoshop's quite expensive, really.
Yeah, like I have tried using Photoshop, but it is great. I have just like tried it. I don't think I've ever drawn anything finished in Photoshop or anything.
So, Rhubarb said, what did you have for your tea? Or what did you have for tea? I'm not sure if that. So I'm not sure if that's going to translate really quite well. I suppose in the UK we say, instead of your evening meal, we'll say
we call it. Yeah, like at least in my home we call it coffee, even though my dad is the only one who drinks coffee.
Okay, so the last the evening meal, I suppose. So you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What would you have had for dinner? That's the question.
Today?
Yeah.
Leftovers.
Okay. There you go. That's a bit of a curveball there. What did you have for your tea? Nice. So what was so you said you had this character in your head for a while, and that was the same question that's just Kate Smith Illustrations have just asked. So who's the character you're drawing? I was just about to ask that same question, but so tell us about this character.
I mean, in case you haven't already guessed it, he's a vampire.
Okay. And this is something. Okay.
Yeah, what are you gonna say?
No. So is this something you said you had this character in your head for a while? How come you haven't sort of drawn him before?
Because I have so many characters that I actively I try to avoid drawing.
Okay. So yeah, Funkatron's put in the chat, need to shorten my questions. Nice one, Stream Elements, lol. Yeah, it doesn't allow massive questions in the chat, fortunately. That's good. We don't want essay questions. It's gonna throw a little meme in there.
Now I'm curious. What's yeah. So.
Funkatron's asked, do you rotate your canvas at any point?
Oh yeah, like it's usually more when I'm inking, but
Mm-hmm.
do.
There you go.
Or if I have to, no, it's mostly when I get to the inking stage, because then I'm sketching. It's just sketching.
Kiss My Artichokes asked, "Does your vampire have a name?"
Not yet, no.
I suppose the obvious name could be Lestat.
I mean, I do imagine him to kind of be, a bit of a classical vampire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in terms of rotating the canvas and stuff like that, have you ever used a screen-based drawing tablet?
Yeah, when my previous tablet broke, I borrowed one from the.
Okay, so one of the universities.
Yeah, one of the.
How did you find about that? Was you racing back to your original tablet, or did you like the screen on there?
I mean, I don't know. I've gotten so used to looking at the screen while I'm drawing, so it was kind of weird. My head was in the way. Like it's just I mean I would probably have gotten used to it, but I was like, nah, this is weird, and then I just bought the same tablet I had before.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. God, I'm only sharing the Clip Studio video because I just got a gross spam mail. But it wasn't Danish, so.
So we just had a follow from Adele Phillips. There we go.
Hey.
Another question for you from Kiss My Artichoke. Do you find it easy coming up with names for your characters?
No. Like I have this series of drawings, trying to draw them all, and as I mentioned, I have a lot, and a lot of the time, I actually don't come up with names until I post them there. But when I have to figure out names, I usually use a website called Behind the Name, where you can search meanings of names and see what's come up. So have like some place to start to come up with a name.
And Adele's put, "Nice to see you at work."
Well, when you write it like that, it sounds like I'm never working.
I think a lot of the time when we get to see you guys work, it's the finished. It's either halfway through or the finished product. We never actually get to sit and watch you put stuff together.
Yeah.
Like this is new for us. We've never seen you guys do anything like this. And I suppose this is another reason why we looked at setting up a Twitch channel, in terms of seeing process, seeing how you do things and things like that as well. So it's been it's quite sort of interesting, I suppose, watching you how your process and how you actually put things together.
Yeah. Yeah. The fun part.
So then we've got another from K Smith Illustrations. Are any of your characters not human or human-like?
I mean, all my characters was more like I barely have any completely human characters, but a human form.
Mm-hmm. So,
But like I don't think I have any like pure monsters that like are always in monster form, but like I think pretty much all of them can take on a human form. Because I guess I like monsters, but I also like drawing
Mhm.
humanoid forms. Yeah.
So, do you find it easier to do the clothes or the features?
Um, features like
Hmm.
I'm not I don't know much about fashion, so like trying to figure out different kinds of trying to like actually vary my characters' outfits can be a bit difficult because it's just tend to either they're wearing like jeans and t-shirts, or they're
Hmm.
wearing.
So, we've got another question from Kiss Macho. What is your favorite part of creating your characters?
Mm, well, I mean that come up with the design, I guess, like, and also I guess their personality.
I've got a couple of questions coming in right now. Funkatron says, "Lol, stream elements is almost ruthless as a Nightbot lol." Okay, so that's. I mean, we will be asking. I will probably put a sort of feedback section on the Twitch page just so people can give us, because obviously this being our first stream and stuff. I think if stream elements is too ruthless, then we will sort of tone that down a bit. Rhubarb, how many hours a day do you draw?
Couple.
Couple of hours.
Yeah, I mean it varies. Like sometimes I just don't feel like I have any energy. Like I sit down, try and draw, and then I like
Mm-hmm.
make it like half an hour when I was like, no, this is not working. But otherwise, some days if I'm like I want to finish this, then I can be a lot more. But usually it's about 2 or 3 hours.
Okay. So, is there any times where you will draw for I don't know, just sort of like escapism, or just to help you mental health or anything like that, or is it just purely for work only?
Well, neither. Like I'm doing it because it's fun, but like I don't really do it to vent. Like I don't do vent art. It's
Okay.
like
All right, and then we've got from Adele. Do you share your drawing process with other artists, akin to sketchbooks?
uh, I mean with
So I
other
suppose, yeah, I mean, in
it's
terms of sharing your drawing process, I mean, I suppose doing this now on Twitch and actually starting a Twitch stream, I suppose that's the start of sharing your process.
yeah. Well,
Kind of.
other than this, I've been after Clip Studio introduced like the time lapse feature.
Hmm.
I've those on Instagram.
Okay. So, and then if people wanted to check your Instagram out, it's just underneath there for the guest info. If you do want to check out, certainly go over to obviously when the stream's finished, head over to Instagram and sort of make sure you follow Rebecca on there. At your, how do you say your username on Instagram?
Skadeful Bane.
I was gonna try and attempt it, but it would come out something like Skade for Frodane or something like that. But it's kind of we have asked before.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
about that. Like one of my followers on Deviant, who's also a Dane, showed me like yesterday that her phone had auto translated my name into English, and it translated as damaged frog.
Okay. And we've got another question from.
Which is not correct.
No. Yeah, we have a problem in Wales with Google Translate. So we've got a question from Virtually Here. Do you have anything in the background when you draw, e.g., music, podcasts, or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I'm usually listening to music.
Okay. So you know the next question is going to be, what kind of music do you listen to?
Heavy metal.
Favorite bands?
Korn.
Okay.
Rammstein.
That's it. That's interesting. So, do you, I remember you saying something about, do you speak a little bit of German?
Yeah, a little bit.
So does that mean you understand what they're saying? And for
Some of
those,
it.
I mean, for those who don't know, Rammstein is a German metal band. I think you really sort of lit a fire under some people there in the chat. There's quite a few heavy metal fans.
Oh. Little fans, I guess.
I think we've got a few people who are a little bit sad over in the UK that Rammstein have postponed their tour again until 2022.
Oh yeah. Should he be wearing like a cape or a trench coat or something?
Guess my hat joke says you don't need to understand it to love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I only catch a few words here and there. Like I don't understand all of it.
And then crying faces. I'm assuming that's because Rammstein's been postponed. Adele Phillips, Rammstein, not hear that in a while. So not heard that in a while. Nice. Okay. Well, there you go. Something just sparked that off there for you to go back and listen to their back catalogue on Spotify or Amazon Music or whatever you listen to.
I mean, they are good.
Rhubarb has put, do you like classical? I'm assuming that's classical music.
I mean, it's okay. I don't usually listen to it.
I suppose it's an acquired taste. I suppose.
Oh, but I like when I listen to it, I like it fine enough. I just don't like put it on when I'm, you know.
So, would you say the music that you listen to influences the characters that you draw?
Like, I mean, as far as I guess some of my characters kind of like be described as metal, but like it's more like what I listen to don't really have influence what I'm drawing. Like I'm listening to heavy metal no matter what I'm drawing. Like even if I'm drawing something cute or something, I'm still listening to metal.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, you said you were interested. You listened to Korn. So is that, and you're drawing a vampire. Is that, have you ever watched Queen of the Damned?
What?
Have you ever seen the movie Queen of the Damned?
No.
Well, that's Korn does the soundtrack for that, and it's all about vampires. So there's one thing for you to check out.
Probably need to have reference for this later, but
So it's interesting. You've sort of duplicated the characters out there, and then you've got different layers of clothing.
yeah, it's because I didn't know if I wanted to have a coat or something. Again, I guess it's kind of like a cape, but slightly more modern. Yeah.
So, Adele's put, is there a movie that's inspired you to immediately draw?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. And Funkatron, if you had to pick a favorite time period to draw from for inspiration, what would it be?
Duh. I mean, I don't know. I guess most of my characters are kind of in a modern setting, but like the time periods are usually kind of vague.
And in Kiss My Artichoke's put, I'm loving the long coat.
Oh, that's good. Consider maybe making like a duster. I guess, but probably gonna inspire a lot of Alucard comments.
Adele's put, what comic have you read where the character left an impression on you?
Nah. I mean, usually if I read something, it's because the characters left in his impression on me. I don't know. The web comic, Not Drunk Enough. I think that's a good one. Have some
Okay.
cool characters.
I can't say about that one, but I'll certainly go and check it out.
I think I'm mostly done with the design. I probably need to go back when I've actually had time to look up references and stuff, but I think I have my ideas now.
Okay, so now that you've sort of sketched out the character, what would you what are you doing now?
Figuring out the colors.
Mm-hmm. So do you ever use anything like Adobe Color or anything like that to color pick, or do you just go with what you think works?
I'm usually going with what I think works. Something if I'm, I guess if I'm have some references, something for my outfit where I like the colors, I may use that. But like, I'm usually just slapping down some colors and then I'm using the correction layer stuff to mess around with it until I like it.
Right, we've got another question from Adele. Do you prefer drawing a specific gender more, and if so, why?
Well, I guess I am skewed a bit toward men, but like I like drawing women well enough too. Like,
We lost your audio there a little bit, so.
oh, but like I have a slight preference for men, but like.
Okay.
I like drawing cool ladies too. I guess it's a matter of like I want the guys to be hotter and I want the women to be cool or badass.
And Adele's she got a thumbs up from Adele, I think. I'm gonna hover over that because I'm not sure what that emote is. That seems good. Okay. Question from Kiss My Artichoke. Do you have a favorite character that you've created?
Well, I can't really pick one, but I have a couple favorites. I guess I kind of. I mean, to be fair, they kind of look like they're a lot of them look kind of like this guy. I like the villain aesthetic. Like most of them aren't villains, but I like the aesthetic.
Mhm. So, because you've done your own avatar, haven't you, for your Twitch channel, whatever else that you use it for. So, how did you find that process of drawing yourself? Did you find that fairly easy, or quite tricky?
It can be tricky. Especially usually have a lot of trouble with the eyes,
Mhm.
like me. Like it's just something about it is like the one drawing that I use as my avatar. That's probably my favorite drawing I've ever done of myself.
Okay. Because I noticed on your offline screen as well on Twitch, you sort of you put that together quite quickly. So
Yeah,
I think
well,
people
I
should
mean,
certainly.
my face is not visible in that one.
You what? Sorry.
The offline screen, my
Hmm.
face is not so.
We've got a couple more questions. Funkatron, what is your kryptonite when it comes to drawing?
Mm, I would say inorganic things,
Okay.
primarily, like especially when it comes to like backgrounds and stuff.
So if someone came to you now with a commission and said, "I've just bought myself a brand new Tesla and I want you to draw it for me in comic book form,"
Yeah, like I haven't figured out how to stylize stuff like that, so it's kind of like
okay. So you basically your speciality is characters.
yeah, but like also
Mhm.
like it was like robots and stuff like that. It's like yeah, I'm not good with inorganic stuff.
Okay, and here's my jokes, but I like the villain aesthetic too. And Adele's put and castles.
Yeah, castles are inorganic. There we like
Like really exaggerated turrets on a castle. So I've got this copyright free playlist going on in the background. So I don't know if anyone can in the chat can hear it, and hopefully that's not too bad and it's not sort of overpowering. So let us know if it is, or if you can hear it at least.
oh, it's gonna look
Fine.
there.
There we go.
Hmm.
All right, Funkatron mobile user. So I'm assuming that it doesn't really come through then on the mobile. And Kismet Chuck's put, yeah, it's subtle enough. There we go.
Yeah.
So now that you sort of you're somewhere near with the colours, what are you going to do next? Are you start clearing up the lines or?
Not really. Not for character
Hmm.
design. It's just for me.
Hmm.
I, I usually don't bother cleaning it up.
Okay. So and before we finish tonight, it'd be worth us having to check out some of the stuff that you've got maybe on your Instagram or some stuff that you've completed in the past as well. And certainly people should definitely head over to um, your Twitch stream, Instagram, ArtStation, and DeviantArt to check out what your latest projects and what you've been up to.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Okay, so we've got a couple of mobile people and Metal next time. Question mark. So, in terms of this is with this being our first stream, we've had a couple of technical issues. We've had a couple of sort of faux pas, but ultimately we're doing. I think we did okay. So would you be interested in coming back maybe in a couple of months' time when we've got the stream a little bit more sort of polished?
Streamlined. I mean, sure. If people are okay with listening to me again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we'd be interested to know is how your stream's progressing. Because I mean, I know you've only done one stream up to now, but obviously, if you're going to keep going with that and pursue it, we'd certainly be interested in how that journey.
I mean, yeah.
And we've got Kiss My Art Jokes already followed you on Twitch, and Funkatron is Deviant for the win. Was very cool. Dell's put great to see you as you're drawing.
I mean, yeah, hopefully people find it interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like we said before, it's kind of, we don't get to see this side of what you do. And it's certainly interesting for us. I think certainly for my students on animation, I'm definitely going to start sort of promoting them to do this kind of thing, so we can see process and see progress and how people approach things differently.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Funkatron's put for sure it's always cool to see process. Kiss My Art Jokes put really interesting to watch the process in real time, and Adele's put agreed.
Now he looks like he belongs in Slytherin.
Absolutely, he could be the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
Yeah. Because I have too many characters in suits, so I'm trying to vary the colors for something different.
Funkatron's put 50 points. And Kiss My Art Jokes put excellent choice of colours. So, I mean, one of the things that Twitch followers usually like to sort of achieve and whatever else is emotes. So, have you got any plans to start doing any of your own?
I mean, I kind of been like, I will cross that bridge when I get to it. Like, I don't have enough followers or people chatting yet to.
Well, you've got 2,000 people on Deviant. I'm sure a few of them would head over to Twitch to check out what you're doing.
I mean, I guess eventually if I keep it up, but you know.
Do you think it's something that you will keep up, or is it sort of like you're just having a go for now and then seeing how it goes?
I guess I'll see how it goes. I guess it's also a matter of how clunky Clip Studios is gonna be.
Yeah.
If it's very limited what I can work on without it being without the lagging being too much, then I mean it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of it's frustrating, isn't it, when it starts lagging and stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, Adele's posted there, Clip Studios gaining more popularity with the industry and comic artists, so hopefully they'll start sort of There'll be a lot more sort of releases for it, and a lot more sort of making it a bit more, I don't know, speed it up a little bit on the computers, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I've jumped a bit in the chat, but Funkatron for 50 points, and Adele said for Gryffindor. I'm not sure about that, but then we've got a few other comments as well. So you were saying, I mean, this time I seem to be getting your pop-up windows, but you were saying when you were streaming last time that your pop-up windows didn't happen on Clip Studio, so
Yeah.
people couldn't
Yeah.
see you changing
Well,
certain.
yeah. Well, I guess that's because this is going through Zoom now.
Mm-hmm. As well, and then you're showing that the ease there of using layers and stuff to change colors and whatever else.
Mm.
Yeah, Funkatron's put agree. Clip Studio is quite popular for emotes too. Seen a few YouTube vids where they're using that. Yeah, I think quite a lot of the art streams that I've been watching over the last week or so in preparation for doing this is, there's a lot of people using Clip Studio. And I suppose the one-off payment with Clip Studio and stuff helps rather than
Yeah, like I mean, that's the.
subscription-based.
Yeah, like I didn't. That's why I didn't really want Photoshop. Like that just seemed annoying.
That's but it used to be called Manga Studio, but they changed it.
Mm.
Do you think that was a good thing?
I mean, I guess it, because in the art world, manga can be kind of stigmatized, so it's probably was a good business decision.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I suppose it's you're sort of limiting your audience a little bit, aren't you? If you give it a specific name.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it's like with Photoshop, not many people, I suppose you associate that with photography, whereas it's used heavily more for probably concept art and digital painting.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's also used for photo editing,
Yeah,
but yeah.
photo editing too, but. Mm-hmm. But again, it comes with a hefty sort of monthly subscription, whereas a one-off payment to Clip Studio kind of. I noticed they do regularly have discounts and stuff.
Yeah.
We should say we're not affiliated with Clip Studio at all. It's just what comic artists tend to gravitate towards. That's not to say that if Clip Studio want to be an affiliate, they certainly sponsor us if they want. Well, I think this is something that we'll be looking to invest in, or to certainly try and get into the university soon is Clip Studio.
Yeah.
At the moment, we've sort of, it's, students have sort of used it as their preference, and I think now with with sort of more comic artists gravitating towards it, it's an absolute must for us. So we've got one from, we got a message from Shagsy101. How idiot-proof for people like me is a program to use, or does it take a lot of time to learn?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's. I mean, obviously, there's always the more advanced functions and stuff, but like, it should be fairly easy to use. Like to just start drawing. I mean, I have modified it slightly, but like this is basically how it's set up when you start. So you have all your brushes right here, like got your pencils and pastels and.
Yeah, I think you can literally just click on a pencil and draw. And if you've got a
Yeah,
tablet with you can with pressure sensitivity and stuff, you can just start drawing. Just I think the main thing is getting used to putting everything on layers.
yeah. I mean, again, if you're not at all used to drawing digitally, I mean, of course, a learning curve, but
Yeah. And I think it's just a case of practice as well. Practice definitely makes perfect. Adele's put Clip Studio also have free models as part of the pack. Do you ever use them?
yes, I use them especially for floating and jumping poses. I've recently used one where like I couldn't find a reference for from the right angle, so I modeled the model after the pose I could find, and then I changed the angle.
I think just sort of going through all the different sets and presets that you can get. There's so many different things as well in terms of landscapes as well and buildings and things that are in this program.
Yeah. You can download them from assets. I mean, see here, I downloaded some dancing poses because I needed it. I can just whip, and now he's ready to dance, and then I can just I need a weird angle.
Yeah, because I mean, this is something that sort of artists.
Also, a cool thing they have is what they call manga perspective, where you can exaggerate the perspective.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's something that digital artists have done for a while. Is they've used things like Maya or 3D modeling packages to throw together some basic shapes, to then draw over put them onto a separate layer in Photoshop and then paint over the top. Whereas having them directly in the programs saves so much time. So,
yeah.
It's. And we've got a couple of thank yous. We've got a thank you from Shagsy101, and then Adele's put nice, and we've got the almighty dab from Funkatron.
I don't know what color I want. We'll figure that out later. But yeah, I think that's mostly it.
Cool. That's really good. And I think we have now been streaming for about an hour and a half, and about 30 minutes of that was just us chatting. So you've come up with the character concept, created it, sort of come up with some poses and clothes and everything else, and possibly a backstory of it being a teacher in Slytherin, or maybe that was just.
No, I have his story. I just haven't talked about it.
So tell us about the story then. Tell us the backstory. So he's not a teacher from Slytherin.
No, he's a vampire.
Okay.
His purpose in the story, I guess he's the antagonist, but like he bite off more than he can chew, and end up the guy who thinks is an easy victim ends up being a stronger monster than him.
Very good. I mean, it sounds cool. So are you now going to turn this into a little mini web series, or to start off with, or a larger web series, or?
Well, no, I was planning on making a short comic showing that. Well, it's basically just a scene showing how he tries to pick out his victim, trying to lure him with him, and the other guy just won't have any of it, but he goes away, but then he tries to attack him anyway, and then figure out he fucked up.
Okay. So I mean, and I suppose that's something that you could you could work through on your Twitch channel. I suppose people would be interested to see that process, and then have a final product at the end that they can read or whatever else.
Yeah.
So
Again, if Clip Student can handle me working on comics.
Well, we've got a couple more comments. So we've got a couple from Kiss My Archog. You're seriously talented. It would be amazing to see the other character.
Well, I can show you. I mean, he is done. Like,
if you're looking to share anything else, you probably need to open it in Clip Studio. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Just checking in case you then go switching it to your desktop.
Yeah, no. Here.
So, have you come up with names for the other character, or?
Oh yeah, because he's been around for longer.
Cool. Could you tell us a bit about this character?
Well, kind of says it here, like he's half human, half elfic horror.
Okay.
But to stay away from everything supernatural, he just kind of want to live his own quiet life. But like, the supernatural won't leave him alone.
So I think I mean you've got the makings there of something that people are interested in. I mean, you can see from the chat that people think that you're seriously talented, and we've got another one from Shagsy there saying, "I wish I had 1/10 of the talent on show." To be fair, excellent tattoos. The tattoos were epic. You what? Sorry.
You can see some progress here.
Okay. So, and I mean that sort of you can see that obviously the difference in your style and obviously your skills progressing over that course of 3 years. I mean, that's a huge difference in that character. It's a lot more. I mean, the shadings, the lines, the sort of everything is a lot more detailed.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely something you need to pursue. I think you've got interest already. Funkatron was just about to say about the tattoos, but I think Kiss My Archog beat into it. And I guess my Archog's put fantastic progress. And
I mean, yeah, the
really shows.
tattoos are one of my favorite part of his design.
So do you think it helped then being studying for the last 3 years a comic book course?
Oh yeah, like definitely, like if I mean, like being on a creative course means you're drawing, like you have time to draw because that's what you're studying. But so that's always, and of course it's always helpful to get feedback, like that's and have the teachers push you to not be lazy.
And there's a couple more comments coming through. I mean, Adele's put wonderful to see your progress. Funkatron put looks epic, like your drawing style for sure. So I mean, you're getting those positive comments from the chat and stuff like that. So I think people are interested to see this. So I think once you sort Clip Studio out from lagging and stuff like that, then absolutely, I think people will be interested to see these two characters progress. And we've already seen the sort of difference between one character, what a character was like 3 years ago to what a character's like last year, and now what it's going to be like in 3 years' time.
Yeah.
So, we've probably come to a sort of natural end now in terms of seeing what you've got there and talking about your progress. We've got a couple of minutes, I suppose, if there's any more questions in the chat. But to round off this stream, I mean, it's been absolutely great talking to you, Rebecca. It's been, I suppose it's always worse being the first to do this sort of thing. And we do have plans to rope more students into doing this and showing their progress and how they do certain things. So, would you recommend doing this to anybody else, or has this been an absolutely horrific nightmare?
No, it was fun. And I guess the cons of being the first one is technical problems. Like there's less people to see around.
Yeah. So it's been great. I really appreciate the people who turned up tonight and asked the questions and interested. So if you are, even if you're not, I definitely check out Rebecca's social media stuff, or whether that's on DeviantArt, ArtStation, Instagram, or Twitch. And I'm sure there'll be a lot more stuff to come. And you've got an absolute amazing future ahead of you as a comic artist. And there's a couple more things coming. Kiss my jokes, but thank you, Rebecca, for sharing your talent. Looking forward to seeing your finished comic. Okay.
I'm always looking forward to see the finished results myself.
Great. All right. So on that note, we will. Adele's put a great job as well. So on that note, we'll leave on a high. We've got another one. Thanks for sharing. So thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing. And we'll see everyone again next time we stream. And Rebecca, good luck in the future. And thanks a lot.